Hello, brothers and sisters of Christ the King Parish. Tonight, I want to talk to you about the Tabernacle project. As you remember from my very first homily here at Christ the King when I arrived in 2018, I gave a vision for us as a Eucharistic parish. And what I mean by that is something actually very simple, is that Jesus Christ, present in the Eucharist, is the center of who we are. It's not about the personality of the pastor. It's not about necessarily the dynamic of the community. It's the pastor and the community all focused on Jesus and the Blessed Sacrament. It's like, in a way, as we know, as Vatican II says, the Eucharist makes the church. It's Jesus Christ and the Eucharistic sacrifice that brings us together, right? That summons us, that calls us together as a parish community. And so the more that Jesus is the center, the greater freedom he has to act in our parish and in our hearts. Just same thing as in our own soul. The more Jesus is the center of our soul, the more he can do in us, the more he can bring us out of sin, to make us holy, to set us on fire with his love. And so that's always been my approach as the pastor here. It's like Jesus is the center. Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament is the center of who we are. And that really it's simply the truth. You know, it's the teaching of Vatican II. It's the timeless teaching of the Church. It is how Jesus is with us now. And I've just been overjoyed at the kind of the connection that parishioners have had with that vision. Like it rings true, you know. You know that in the depths of your own heart is like, yeah, Jesus is the center, and so we've been building on that. You know, we've been building on that these last two and a half years. And if you recall my homily that I gave this past Christ the King on our patronal feast, I had made that proposal about wanting to change places with Jesus. Because as you know, in the church, it's Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament is off to the side, and the priest is in the middle and at the center. And I shared with all of you about what the desire of my own heart of like wanting to change positions with where put Jesus where the priest is and put the priest where Jesus was, thereby making Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament the true center of the church, and kind of the where all the attention is drawn towards. And I shared with you too that before I pitched it to all of you, I had discussed it at our pastoral council, and they had given their unanimous support for such an idea. After giving that homily, I have to say I just have got an overwhelmingly positive response from parishioners. It's really extraordinary, and I guess maybe you too sense about just how important that is, right? And this is what the COVID pandemic has perhaps awakened us to the cosmic war that goes on between good and evil, and how the fragility of our lives, and the need for to engage in the spiritual battle that's been going on between the Lord and the evil one. And I'll tell you this, the evil one doesn't want Jesus to be the center. He doesn't want Jesus to be the center of the church. He doesn't want Jesus to be the center of our own souls. He doesn't want Jesus to be the center of anything, right? He wants to be the center of everything. And so there's this, and we know this within our own souls, of that battle that goes on of who's going to have the center. And so this move to put the Blessed Sacrament, Jesus present in the Blessed Sacrament, at the center of the church, yeah, the evil one doesn't want that either. And so when I've prayed about this, you know, and I get from the Lord of this great desire on his part to be the center, because he knows what he can do for us when he's the center. And also I've gotten spiritual interference, I believe, from the evil one about not wanting that to happen. And so, but I continue to pray through that, and of course ask for your prayers as well. But with the unanimous approval of the council and the overwhelmingly positive response from parishioners, is that I've decided we'll just go forward with it. We'll go forward with this project, and I think the Lord wants it. And there's been some really kind of amazing moments as we've moved this project forward. And this is what I want to share with you about where things stand now. So, as I had mentioned in the homily, there was a parishioner at this point wishes to remain anonymous, who kind of had an epiphany. He said he was out for a walk and he sat on a bench and he was praying, and just right in his heart, he senses, get a tabernacle for Christ the King. And he called me up that week. This was last summer, and he shared the story with me. And he says, I really want, my wife and I, we really want to do this for Christ the King. And he sensed a kind of a spiritual conviction about it. And I said, that's great. That's great. And so he and his wife have offered all the funds that are necessary. So in this tabernacle project, it doesn't impact our operations in the least, that this generous parishioner is covering all the expenses for that. And so what I want to walk you through is just kind of like what things are going to look like. So if we're going to change the priest and Jesus, then what's that going to look like? And so what I've done is we have some photos here to share with you. So as you can see in this first photo, there you can see where the existing presider's chair is now. As you see, that's the kind of the big concrete chair where the priest sits, and then the tabernacle stand over to the side. Is that those are the two locations that will be changed out. So let's go to the next photo. See what there. So what it's going to look like is that we'll have put the new tabernacle there in the center where the chair is now, and then to support that tabernacle, we're going to build a wood and marble altar there, and this wood and marble altar is such that it would incorporate. And we'll see those photos in a second. That it will incorporate the archwork that's already existent in the church to kind of tie it together. So you can kind of see kind of visually what that would look like. So you can, with those dotted lines there, you can kind of see, well, there's the altar. The square on top with the cross is roughly, again, what the tabernacle position would be, so that it would be readily visible from basically anywhere in the church where you would sit, accessible, and of course, drawing our eye right to the center, right where Jesus is. Let's go ahead and go to the next photo, please. So to accommodate that altar, what we need to do is extend that step where the priest sits now. So there you can see kind of a dotted line. It's just a matter of extending it about a foot and a half. But as you can see from the photo, there's a lot of room between that step and the altar, so it doesn't really have any sort of negative impact on that regard. And so we'll extend that step out. Let's go to the next photo. And then the blue carpet will be taken off of that step, and what we are looking at is putting that white stone tile that has kind of a marble finish to it. This is a very durable, non-slick surface that looks really good and is very cost-effective. We would put that all over that first step. All right, so before we go to the next photo, in terms of the tabernacle, the new tabernacle, so the existing tabernacle we will continue to use for our altar of repose on Holy Thursday, and for any time we would need another tabernacle. The choice of the tabernacle followed a basic couple principles. One is that it would need to fit in the modern church that we have, but as well be representative of our Catholic artistic heritage. And so, and there's basically, if we're looking at really quality tabernacles, there's really only one studio in the world that does stuff like this, and that is the studio of Granda in Spain. They're out of Madrid, Spain. They do work all over the world. And in fact, the Archbishop in the chapel in his residence, he just got tabernacle for that chapel from Granda. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So that is the tabernacle. It is of a Baroque style, but it's something that fits very well with, I would say, with the modern configuration, the architectural lines of our current church. What is attractive about this particular tabernacle is that you can see on the doors there's some relief work, and those are scenes, those are images, and they're images of the Passion. So in a way, it's a Christocentric tabernacle, and which I think fits very well with a church of Christ the King. So we have the Church of Christ the King, and the tabernacle has the scenes of the Passion whereby he became our King and won us for himself. As you can tell, the quality, the artistic quality, and the production quality of this is of the highest level. Gold, I believe, will show up really, really well against our wood background that we have, as well as give that proper, the proper honor for the most important reality on our property is the Blessed Sacrament, right? Jesus Christ, body, blood, soul, and divinity. And I think that would even serve a teaching purpose to those who may not be Catholic and may come into our church. You would be able to tell right away what's most important, right? There's something about that area of whatever's in that gold container, and that could be the opportunity to talk about, Jesus. So that's, if you go to the next photo, that'll show the interior of the tabernacle. Another positive aspect of this particular tabernacle is you can see kind of the high doors, which will be able to accommodate the beautiful ciboria that we already have that was donated by a parishioner last spring. So they will be able to fit in the tabernacle and have a door height that has enough clearance to put the ciborium in. So the next photo you see here, that is the artist rendition of the altar. And I got to tell you, it's kind of another God moment story in this project. So my family has a beach house at Lincoln City that sometimes I'll go to on my day off, and when I go down there, I like to go for a long run on the beach. And so I'm out on one of these runs. Sun was out. It was a nice day, and I got my ear buds in, and I'm running. I got a podcast going, and so then I hear these people like shouting, like I don't know, they obviously aren't talking to me. So I keep running, and then I hear the shouting, and then I hear Cihak, and I thought, oh well, somebody must know me. So I stop and I look, and there's this couple walking on the beach, and I go up to them, and it is Tony and Susie Morris. Now you may not know who they are, but I've known them for probably 25 years. Tony is a master woodworker and lives in Mount Angel, and has done a number of projects for Mount Angel Abbey. And I said I was trying to call you because I was thinking about this project, and I know we'll need somebody who can do woodwork. And so I kind of explained to him what we're doing, and he says, "Oh yeah, I'd be very interested in doing that." Like, oh wow! So then all of a sudden and this is the kind of thing of the smoothness with which this project has kind of unfolded is just kind of amazing. So we would back and forth, and he came over to the parish, took a lot of measurements, and did some thinking, and we wanted to make sure that that it was a beautiful sort of piece that would draw people's attention and fit within our existing church. And so that's where he got the idea of the design of this. We can go back to the picture there. So as you can see, it's kind of a two-tiered altar, and in the altar you can see there's a pillar and an arch and a pillar and an arch, and so those arches are going to be shaped to be the same style of arch that we see around the perimeter of the church, and then also the same arch that was put into our hanging pendant lights in the church. So it'll tie all together, I think, rather nicely. And then the addition of the pillars just adds kind of a richness to it. And the wood that it'll be constructed from is cherry. We'll stain it darker than the existing paneling, so it'll show up in a little bit more relief. And then on that top shelf area, that's where we'll put the tabernacle on top of that, and then that kind of shelving on to the right and to the left, we'll be able to put some candlesticks on if we need to. The surface, the top part of the altar will be a white marble, which I think again will show up well with the darker wood and the tabernacle there. And then we're still looking for this, but a nice finish piece for the tabernacle altar area would be two flanking angels, kind of adoring, statues, kind of adoring the tabernacle. And what we have we've put a call in to the company that did the Stations of the Cross that you see that go around the church that are done in that white stone finish. So we've asked them to give us a quote about what it would be to have two resin angels done in that same style. So again, it would kind of tie in with the rest of the church. That is the altar area. If you want to go to the next photo, that's just kind of a schematic, so you can kind of see some of the height. It's about 40 inches high. The width of the altar will be about 8 feet, so it's going to cover most of those 3 panels that you see there. And so you just kind of see some of the measurements that Tony Morris had sketched out for us. So then you may be thinking, well, Monsignor, what are you going to sit in, right? What's going to happen? So the chair and the tabernacle stand will be removed from the church to make room for the altar and then for the seating area for the priest. Let's go to the next photo. You can see 3 wood chairs there that are very nice looking. These chairs were actually donated to us by Our Lady of Sorrows. And I got to thank Father Crispin for giving those chairs to us. Apparently, Our Lady of Sorrows got new presider chairs for their church. And he offered those to Christ the King. And I went over and looked at them, and they're in fabulous shape. And then I kind of looked up, they're about close to a $1,700 value, new. So I thought, wow, that's again another sort of moment of things just kind of unfolding and working out. So our plans for those chairs would be to stain them the same color as the altar. So there'll be a darker stain, and to put some sort of thin, small white cushion on those 3 chairs. So that'll be enough for a priest and for a deacon and a concelebrant or 2 concelebrants. For that, and again, those chairs would be placed over where the current tabernacle is now. So that's kind of a rundown of what this project, where it stands right now. At the pastoral council, one of the council members says, "So what's the target date on all of this?" And my hope is that we would be able to have this ready for Holy Thursday. Holy Thursday of this year, which is the day of the priesthood, the day of the Eucharist, the day our Lord instituted the Eucharist. I couldn't think of a better day coming up to bring Jesus to the center of our church than Holy Thursday. So there it is. I of course welcome your feedback, and of course want to keep you all in the loop of what's happening and how things have unfolded. And I really ask for your prayers too, because again, that this is, I'm very much convinced this is something the Lord wants, and this is something the evil one does not want. And so we'll need those prayers as we move forward with this. I've also submitted to the Archbishop, because something like this needs his approval, so that I've submitted that request for his approval. He's already indicated to me verbally that he's actually very excited about this idea. And so I anticipate that approval will be coming very, very, very soon. So to thank you for your prayers, your support, and for just such generous parishioners. I'm just humbled, overwhelmed, joy-filled about that. Is that, you know, together as a Eucharistic parish, the Lord will do something great in our midst, and we'll look forward to all the spiritual fruits that will come from that. You know, as I mentioned in my homily back on the Feast of Christ the King, is that, you know, when we do something like this, when we put Jesus at the center, there's going to be a kind of a spiritual ripple effect through the parish that is very good. And so we can look forward to the fruits that will come forth from this in our own hearts, in our families, in our parish, in our school. So we'll look forward to that. But thank you for tuning in, and God bless you. And if as things progress, I will certainly be offering more updates. So God bless you, and we'll talk to you soon.